First contact gone wrong. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the Earth diplomatic vessel Olive Branch, watching the massive structure of the Galactic assembly come into view. The station was a marvel of engineering. A series of interconnected rings that rotated in perfect harmony, creating artificial gravity for hundreds of different species. After decades of observation, humanity was finally taking its place among the stars. Quite a sight, isn't it? Director of Security James Rodriguez joined her at the viewport, his weathered face reflecting in the reinforced glass. Unlike the other diplomats in their formal attire, he wore a simple black uniform with minimal insignia. Though I must say, something feels off about this whole thing. Sarah nodded, keeping her voice low. The invitation was rather sudden, wasn't it? After 50 years of watching us from afar, why now? The assembly had revealed itself to humanity in 2157, shortly after Earth's first successful quantum fold drive test. They'd established minimal contact, claiming they needed to evaluate humanity's readiness for galactic society. Now, barely 5 years later, an invitation to join had arrived with surprising urgency. "Ma'am," Rodriguez's neural implant chirped softly in her ear. "Analysis just finished decrypting some interesting communications. You need to see this." Sarah followed him to the secure briefing room, where holographic displays showed intercepted transmissions between various assembly members. The ship's AI had finally broken their encryption, and what it revealed was troubling. "Look at these resource allocation requests." Rodriguez highlighted several sections. "The Mrikari are stockpiling antimatter warheads. The Vox Collective is repositioning their fleet near our colonial territories. And the Zenthari." He paused, his expression grim. "They're discussing containment protocols." Containment. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "They're treating us like a disease. Or a threat." Rodriguez brought up another document. "According to this, several elder races are concerned about our rate of technological advancement. We went from simple radio to quantum fold drive in less than 2 centuries. It took most species millennia to make similar progress." Sarah's mind raced. The invitation wasn't about welcome. It was about control. Get humanity's representatives off Earth, possibly as hostages, while they implemented whatever containment meant. How much time do we have? Based on these movements. Days, maybe hours. Sarah straightened her jacket, mind already formulating plans. "Send everything to Earth Command, encrypted channel. Then get me a secure line to Admiral Hassan. You're not still planning to attend the ceremony?" A slight smile crossed Sarah's face. "Oh, I am. But not as the humble representative they're expecting." She activated her neural link, connecting to the ship's secure AI. "Initiate protocol Trojan Horse. And James, make sure our diplomatic escort is ready." The Olive Branch carried more than just diplomats. Hidden beneath its civilian facade were Earth's most advanced defensive systems and a complement of special operations personnel, a precaution that had seemed paranoid during planning but now proved prescient. "They think we're naive children." Sarah's voice hardened. "Time to show them how humanity handles threats to its existence." As they approached the assembly station, Sarah composed a message to Earth Command. "First contact protocol compromised. Evidence suggests imminent hostile action. Implementing counter-protocol Zeus. Request fleet activation." The Galactic Assembly was about to learn a crucial lesson. Humanity hadn't survived countless challenges on Earth by being trusting or defenseless. They'd developed a healthy paranoia, and the tools to back it up. The Olive Branch continued its approach, its innocent name belying the storm about to break. Inside, Sarah Chen prepared to face an assembly of species who'd already decided humanity's fate, or so they thought. But humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and its own near destruction. They hadn't come this far to be contained. As the docking procedures began, Sarah looked at her reflection in the viewport. She straightened her formal diplomatic sash, the one containing quantum-encrypted transmitters and enough processing power to hack most known alien systems. Behind her, Rodriguez's team did final checks on their ceremonial weapons, designed to look decorative, while housing some of Earth's most advanced combat tech. The trap was set, but not the one the assembly expected. Well, Sarah smiled grimly. Let's go make first contact. The hidden threat. The assembly chamber was a cathedral to alien engineering. Crystalline spires stretched upward into darkness, their surfaces reflecting the bioluminescence of 1,000 different species. Sarah Chen walked the central pathway, every step measured and deliberate, while genetic scanners hidden in her ceremonial pins mapped the biological signatures of each alien representative. Above them all, the Council of Elders presided, the Mrikari with their flowing photosynthetic membranes, the crystalline Zenthari, and the enigmatic Vox Collective's neural clouds. They looked down upon the human delegation with what Sarah's enhanced senses registered as barely concealed anticipation. Welcome, representatives of Earth, the Mrikari Elders translator produced perfectly modulated English. We have watched your species' progress with great interest. The honor is ours, Sarah replied, her neural implant simultaneously processing the real-time data streams from Rodriguez's security team. They'd identified 3 separate energy signatures consistent with containment fields. The assembly wasn't just planning to contain humanity. They were planning to start right here. The Zenthari Elders' crystal structure pulsed with patterns of light. We have prepared a ceremony of acceptance, but first we must address certain concerns. Of course, Sarah smiled diplomatically. Though I'm curious, do these concerns have anything to do with the antimatter warheads your forces are positioning near Earth's colonies? The chamber erupted in a chaos of translated exclamations. The Vox Collective's neural cloud darkened visibly, while the Mrikari's membranes flashed warning patterns. You dare! The Zenthari Elders' lights blazed. You were not meant to. No. Sarah's voice cut through the cacophony. That's humanity's first lesson to the assembly. We're very good at knowing things we're not meant to know. She gestured and holographic displays materialized throughout the chamber, showing fleet movements, weapon stockpiles, and decoded communications. For instance, we know about Operation Watershed, your plan to guide humanity's development through controlled catastrophes. The Vox Collective spoke, their neural cloud forming patterns that their translator rendered in harsh tones. Your species advances too quickly. Uncontrolled growth leads to chaos. We have seen it before. And your solution was to engineer disasters. Sarah's voice carried a dangerous edge. To test our responses, our resilience. Those solar flares that nearly hit Earth last year, artificial, weren't they? The silence in the chamber was confirmation enough. What you fail to understand, Sarah continued, pacing the chamber floor, is that humanity's rapid advancement isn't despite catastrophes, it's because of them. Every challenge makes us stronger, more innovative, more determined. She activated her neural link, and suddenly every screen in the chamber showed new data, Earth's hidden defensive capabilities, shield technologies that could withstand artificial solar flares, quantum algorithms that had broken assembly encryption in days instead of years. You thought you were testing us. Sarah's smile was razor sharp. We were learning you. Every probe, every natural disaster, every diplomatic exchange. We were studying your technologies, your strategies, your weaknesses. The Mrikari Elders' membranes rippled with agitation. You dare threaten the assembly. Not a threat, Sarah replied calmly. A warning. Right now, Earth fleet vessels are moving to protect our colonies. They're equipped with technologies you haven't seen yet, because unlike you, we understand the value of holding something in reserve. She turned to face the council directly. You wanted to contain humanity because you fear what we might become. But in doing so, you've guaranteed exactly what you feared most. A humanity that views you not as mentors, but as threats to be countered. The chamber's energy fields hummed to life, the trap closing. But Sarah just smiled. Oh yes, your containment fields. She raised her hand, displaying a small device. Interesting technology. We reversed engineered it months ago. With a gesture, the fields dissipated. Like I said, we learn quickly. Rodriguez's team moved into defensive positions as chaos erupted in the chamber. Species that had observed humanity for decades suddenly realized they'd been observed right back and judged wanting. Here's humanity's counter-proposal. Sarah's voice carried over the chaos. End Operation Watershed. Withdraw your forces. Accept that humanity will advance at its own pace, or discover exactly how many other surprises we've prepared. The Vox Collective's neural cloud pulsed rapidly, their equivalent of urgent internal communication. The Xanthari's crystalline structure vibrated at frequencies suggesting stress. The Mercury's membranes had gone still, a sign of deep thought or calculation. You would risk galactic war? The Xanthari elder asked. We would risk anything to remain free, Sarah corrected. But we don't want war. We want partnership, real partnership, not the illusion of it while you ply our downfall. Humanity can be your greatest ally or your worst nightmare. The choice is yours. As the council deliberated, Sarah received a neural update from Earth Command. The fleet was in position. Defensive systems were online. Humanity was ready for either outcome. The hidden threat wasn't humanity's potential for destruction. It was their potential for survival at any cost. The Assembly had tried to cage a species that had spent its entire existence breaking free of limitations. Now they would have to decide: accept humanity as equals, or face the consequences of their miscalculation. Humanity responds. The next 48 hours transformed the galaxy's political landscape. As the Assembly chamber remained locked in emergency session, humanity demonstrated exactly why they couldn't be contained. Admiral Maya Hassan stood on the bridge of the EFs of Hyperion, Earth's newest carrier, watching tactical displays light up across the Perseus arm. The ship's quantum eye processed battle data faster than human consciousness, but she'd learned to read the patterns. Every blinking light represented a human response to decades of assembly manipulation. Status report on Operation Checkmate, she commanded. Her XO, Commander David Chen, brother of Ambassador Sarah, brought up a holographic display. Phase 1 complete, Admiral. Quantum fold signatures detected near all major assembly military installations. They've noticed our ships. Good. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Let them count our vessels. Let them wonder how we got there so fast. The Assembly's greatest mistake had been assuming humanity would develop technology in a predictable, linear fashion. They hadn't counted on human ingenuity, on our tendency to leap forward in unexpected directions. Message from the Mercury Defense Fleet, David announced. They're demanding to know how we breached their detection grid. Send them the prepared response. On screens across the galaxy, Assembly military commanders received the same message. A technical analysis of their own defense systems, complete with documented vulnerabilities. The message was clear. Humanity hadn't just developed countermeasures. They'd thoroughly understood the technology they were countering. Second wave positioning complete, the tactical officer reported. The Vox Collective's neural networks are showing signs of extreme agitation. Of course they were. Humanity's ships weren't just appearing in their defense zones. They were appearing in formations that shouldn't have been possible according to known physics. The Assembly had based their containment strategies on assumptions about human technological development. Those assumptions were now being shattered one by one. Admiral, David's voice carried a note of satisfaction. We're receiving reports from the colonial defense grids. Assembly forces are beginning to withdraw. Maya nodded. The Assembly was learning another crucial lesson about humanity. They didn't believe in fighting fair. While the diplomatic crisis unfolded, Earth's military response had been precisely calculated to demonstrate capability without initiating conflict. Signal from Earth Command, the communications officer announced. Ambassador Chen reports the Council is ready to negotiate. Excellent. Maya turned to her crew. Begin Phase 3. Across human space, cloaked satellites activated, revealing a defense network that had been built in secret over the past 5 years. The assembly had watched Earth's official military construction with growing concern, never realizing it was all a distraction from the real preparations. "Message from the Zenthari High Command," David reported. "There, requesting technical consultation." Maya's smile widened slightly. The Zenthari, proud masters of crystalline technology, asking humans for technical advice. That had to hurt. "Commander Chen, please remind your sister that she has authorization to share the preliminary fusion containment specs with the Zenthari, a small demonstration of good faith." The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, coordinating the complex dance of ships and systems that made up humanity's response. They trained for this, prepared for every contingency, because that's what humans did. They planned for the worst while working for the best. "Admiral," David's voice carried a hint of amusement. "The Vox Collective is reporting unusual activity in their neural networks. Apparently, our quantum signals are inspiring new thought patterns." Maya nodded. The Vox, with their networked consciousness, had been particularly dismissive of human cognitive capabilities. Now they were discovering that human technology could interface with their neural networks in ways they'd never imagined. "Send them the cultural package," she ordered. "Let them experience some human art, music, literature. Show them what they were trying to contain." The response had been calculated to demonstrate not just military capability, but cultural and technological sophistication. Every move showed the assembly a different facet of human potential. "Update from Ambassador Chen," David announced. "The Council has officially suspended Operation Watershed. They're requesting a formal dialogue on mutual defense technologies." Maya turned to look out at the stars, her expression thoughtful. "Send word to all ships. Maintain position, but stand down from combat footing. And David, tell your sister she was right. Sometimes the best way to win a fight is to make your opponent question why they started it in the first place." The assembly had tried to contain humanity out of fear of what they might become. Instead, they'd forced humanity to reveal capabilities that would have otherwise remained hidden for decades. Now they would have to deal with a species that had not only survived their tests, but had turned those very tests into opportunities. As reports continued to flow in, Maya reflected on the irony. The assembly's attempt to prevent humanity's rise had instead accelerated, proving once again that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military might. It was their ability to turn adversity into advantage. "Begin documentation of all assembly military capabilities," she ordered. "Now that they've shown their hand, we can start planning real improvements to our defense systems." Because that was the final lesson humanity would teach the assembly. Never show all your cards until you have to, and always be ready for the next hand. The truth unveiled. The second assembly session began differently than the first. Where once there had been condescension, now there was caution. Where there had been dismissal, now there was respect. And where there had been unity among the elder races, now there were fractures. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the council again, but this time she wasn't alone. Representatives from 12 minor species had requested to stand with humanity, species that had also faced the Assembly's guidance over the centuries. "Honorable Council," Sarah began, her voice carrying through the translation fields. "We've all seen the evidence of Operation Watershed, but today we're here to discuss something far more important, the truth about why it existed in the first place." The chamber's displays activated, showing historical data that made several council members shift uncomfortably. The Mercury's membranes rippled with obvious distress. "For 10,000 years," Sarah continued, "the Assembly has claimed to guide developing species for their own protection. But our analysis of historical records shows a pattern. Any species that showed rapid technological advancement was subjected to engineered setbacks, natural disasters, economic crises, political upheavals." A representative from the Kithara, one of the minor species, stepped forward. Their crystalline form glowed with suppressed emotion. 300 years ago, our world suffered a devastating asteroid impact. We always suspected, but we could never prove. It wasn't just you, Sarah confirmed. Humanity's analysts found the pattern. The Drell, the Saphiri, the Nexus Collective. Every species that showed potential to advance quickly faced similar natural catastrophes. The Vox Collective's neural cloud pulsed with denial patterns. These accusations are supported by your own records, Sarah interrupted, bringing up more data. Records you thought were secured. Records that showed not just the planning of these disasters, but the reasoning behind them. The chamber erupted in overlapping translations as species began talking all at once. Sarah waited for the noise to subside before continuing. The assembly didn't fear our advancement because it might lead to chaos. You feared it because it threatened your control, your position, your power. The Zentheri Elder's crystalline form vibrated with harmonic patterns of distress. You cannot understand. Rapid advancement leads to instability, to war, to destruction. No, Sarah's voice was firm. Rapid advancement leads to change. And that's what you really feared. Change that might upset the careful balance of power you've maintained for millennia. She gestured, and new data appeared. Studies showing how controlled catastrophes had kept minor species dependent on assembly technology and support. But humanity offered something you didn't expect. Sarah continued, "We didn't just advance quickly. We adapted quickly. Every setback made us stronger. Every challenge made us more innovative. And most importantly, we never stopped questioning, never stopped looking deeper." The Kith era representative's crystalline form pulsed with agreement patterns. Like us, like all the species you tried to contain, we didn't fail to advance because we were inferior. We were deliberately held back. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Centuries of assembly guidance revealed as systematic suppression. Millennia of careful control exposed as calculated manipulation. But today, Sarah's voice carried hope now, not accusation. We offer a different path. Humanity and our allies propose a new framework for galactic cooperation, one based on mutual support and genuine exchange, not controlled development and engineered setbacks. She brought up final set of data. Technological breakthroughs that had occurred when species collaborated freely. Advancements that had benefited all, not just the controlling few. The assembly faces a choice, Sarah concluded. Continue trying to contain change, to control development, to maintain power through manipulation, or embrace a future where all species can reach their full potential, where advancement isn't seen as a threat, but as an opportunity. The Mercari Elder's membranes had stilled, a sign of deep consideration. The Zentheri's crystalline structure showed patterns of internal debate. Even the Vox Collective's neural cloud displayed signs of reorganization. And if we refuse? The question came from the Zentheri Elder. Sarah's smile was gentle but firm. Then you'll face not just humanity, but every species that's tired of being held back. Every civilization that's ready to embrace their true potential. And I don't think that's a confrontation you can win. The chamber erupted in discussions, debates, and negotiations. But the old order was already crumbling. The truth, once revealed, couldn't be contained, just like the species the assembly had tried so hard to control. As the council withdrew to deliberate, Sarah received a neural message from Admiral Hassan. "Well done. The fleet stands ready, whatever they decide." But Sarah had seen the shift in the chamber, the way other species were already beginning to share information, to form new alliances. The assembly's power hadn't just been challenged, it had been fundamentally transformed. The age of containment was ending. The age of collaboration was about to begin. A new dawn. 1 year after the assembly crisis, the Galactic Cooperation Summit convened on Earth, a symbolic choice that wasn't lost on any of the attendees. The United Nations Assembly Hall in New York had been modified to accommodate representatives from over 300 species, its ancient architecture blending seamlessly with advanced holographic displays and translation fields. Ambassador Sarah Chen, now serving as Earth's Secretary of Interstellar Relations, watched as delegates filed in. Former assembly powers sat alongside once suppressed species, their traditional hierarchies replaced by a new system based on mutual contribution and collaboration. "Quite a change from last year," Admiral Hassan remarked, joining Sarah at the podium. Her dress uniform now bore the insignia of the newly formed Mutual Defense Coalition. "Change was inevitable," Sarah replied. "We just helped it arrive a little faster." The results of that change were evident everywhere. The Zenthari, freed from the political constraints of the old assembly, had shared revolutionary advances in crystalline computing. The Kithara's long-suppressed research into dimensional physics had already led to improvements in quantum fold technology. Even the Vox Collective, after extensive interaction with human art and culture, had undergone a transformation, their neural networks expanding in unexpected ways. Distinguished representatives, Sarah began as the session opened. "1 year ago, we stood at a crossroads. Today, we stand at the beginning of a new path." Holographic displays activated, showing the progress of the past year. Joint research projects, collaborative defense initiatives, cultural exchange programs that had led to unprecedented breakthroughs in understanding between species. "The old assembly feared rapid advancement," she continued. "They saw it as a threat to stability. But look at what we've achieved together in just 1 year, when we chose cooperation over control." The displays shifted to show the first fruits of true collaboration, a new type of quantum fold drive developed by human, Kithara, and Zenthari scientists working together. Medical breakthroughs that combine human genetic research with Vox neural technology. Defense systems that incorporated the best aspects of a dozen different species' approaches to security. But our greatest achievement, Sarah emphasized, isn't technological. It's the trust we've built, the barriers we've broken down, the understanding we've fostered. She gestured to the chamber, where former enemies now sat together, sharing ideas and resources. The Mrikari, their membranes flowing with patterns of agreement, had become some of humanity's strongest allies once freed from the political constraints of the old order. "We faced a choice between containment and collaboration," Sarah continued. "Between fear and hope, between stagnation and growth. We chose growth. We chose hope. And look at what that choice has brought us." New data appeared, charts showing exponential growth in technological advancement, but also in cultural exchange, in diplomatic cooperation, in mutual understanding. Humanity's gift to the galaxy wasn't just our technology or our adaptability. Sarah's voice carried conviction. It was our refusal to accept artificial limitations, our determination to question, to challenge, to seek better ways forward. The chamber filled with expressions of agreement in 100 different forms: light patterns, chemical signatures, neural pulses, and more traditional applause. Today, we formalize what we've already proven, that we are stronger together, that diversity isn't a threat to stability, it's the key to growth, that the unknown isn't something to fear and contain, but something to explore and understand. As Sarah spoke, final signatures were being added to the Galactic Cooperation Charter, a new framework for interstellar relations based on principles of mutual advancement and shared discovery. The old assembly tried to write humanity's story, to control our development, to contain our potential. But that's not how stories work. The best stories are written together, each voice contributing its unique perspective, each chapter building on what came before. She looked out over the chamber, meeting the eyes, optical sensors, and other sensory organs of each delegation in turn. That's the story we're writing now. Not a story of containment and control, but one of collaboration and discovery. Not a story of fear, but one of hope. And this is just the beginning. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of approval. Species that had once been rivals now shared in the excitement of unlimited potential. The fear that had driven the old assembly to contain and control had been replaced by something more powerful, the shared anticipation of what they could achieve together. As the formal signing ceremony began, Sarah received a neural message from Earth Command. First joint fleet exercise completed successfully. all participating species reporting unprecedented levels of coordination. She smiled. Humanity had faced the Assembly's attempt at containment and turned it into an opportunity for transformation. They had taken a galaxy fragmented by fear and helped forge it into something new, a community united not by control, but by shared aspiration. The age of containment was over. The age of possibility had begun. And humanity, the species that had refused to be contained, now stood not as a threat to galactic stability, but as a catalyst for galactic evolution. They had proven that the most powerful force in the universe wasn't control, it was the willingness to reach beyond it, to imagine something better, and to work together to make that vision real. The new dawn had arrived, and its light shone on a galaxy forever changed.